We can do it together.
Folks, my latest book, Act Like a Success, Think Like a Success, has hit #1 on the New York Times bestseller list. I'm very proud of the book, and not just because it's doing well, but because it has the potential to help so many of you find fulfillment, which is the reason I wrote the book in the first place. I want to talk to you about a chapter in the book, chapter 3, which I entitled, Take the Lid Off the Jar. Those of you who own a pet, a dog, you're very familiar with they have the possibility of catching fleas. Fleas are one of the smallest insects. Fleas have one of the highest vertical leaps of any living insect based on their size. A flea has a 36-inch vertical leap. Now, if you capture a flea and you put it in a jar and you put the lid on the jar, that flea still has a 36 vertical leap. So it will start jumping in that jar until it hits his head. And once it hits his head, he starts making adjustments. So then the flea reduces his jump, and he jumps just high enough to where he almost touches it, but he don't hit the lid and get knocked back down. Now, if you put another flea in there, that flea has a 36-inch vertical. And then once they find out they get knocked down a little bit, that flea starts jumping just before the lid so it don't get knocked down. Funny thing happens. If these fleas have baby fleas in a jar, these fleas are born with a 36-inch vertical. But because their parents are showing them only a 4 or 5-inch jump so they don't get hit, these baby fleas who are born with 36-inch verticals, they jump just as high as their parents jump. And what we do as people is we do the same things. We allow our environment to dictate to us. We allow our friends to dictate to us, our circle of associates to dictate to us how high we jump. When I was in the 6th grade and the teacher asked me what I wanted to be when I grow up, and she had everybody write an assignment on a piece of paper, I wrote down on a piece of paper I wanted to be on TV. She called everybody's name and had them stand up at their desk, and when she got to mine, she said, "Little Stevie, come up to the front of the class." I'm thinking this is a great moment for me. I've written something on my paper so wonderful that it's better than all the rest. I'm going up to get a gold star. I got up there, she said, "Why did you write that on your paper?" And I said, "Because that was our assignment for today." She said, "But why did you write it on your paper, though?" I said, "Because I want to be on TV." Then she just started breaking me down. Who do you know on TV? Anybody in this school ever been on TV? No, ma'am. Anybody in your family ever been on TV? No, ma'am. She just destroyed me in front of these cats. I thought I was getting a gold star, found out I wasn't. I was heartbroken. She reported me to my parents, and I'm being a smart aleck in class, sent me home with the note pinned on me. I got home, I'm thinking I'm in a world of trouble. My mom tells my dad that I've been a smart aleck in class, and I'm writing down stuff that's unrealistic. He said, "Well, what did you want to be, son?" I said, "I wrote on my paper, I want to be on TV." He looked at my mother and said, "Well, what's wrong with that?" She said, "Because the teacher says that's unreasonable." He said, "How does she know?" And that was the first moment that I found out that my father, who had a 3rd grade education, who my mother taught to read and write, I said, "Man, this guy's on to something." So he told me what did she want you to write? I said, "A policeman or fireman or ball player." She said, "Write that on the paper and give it back to her." She said, "But every morning when you wake up, take your paper, put it in your drawer. Read your paper every morning when you wake up, and read your paper every night before you go to bed. If you turn your TV on today, the little boy in the 6th grade is on TV." Very true statement. Because my father informed me, "Son, take the lid off of your jar." And that's what the book is about, is to help people understand no matter who you are, no matter where you are in life, you can take the lid off of your jar. And if you're wondering if you still have the lid on in your life, here are some clues that's going to let you know that the lid is still on. If you're not excited about waking up in the morning, if you're sitting around bored out of your mind, if you got time to do everything anybody asks you to do, you probably got the lid on. If when you tell your dreams to all your friends, it makes sense to them, you got your lid on, man. Your dreams should not make sense to everybody. You got to say something that make people go, how you going to do that? That's when you got the lid off. And if I were you, I'd do that. I'd take the lid off. Makes sense to me, don't it? We'll be right back, folks.
Wanted to ask you, how do you overcome the fears and doubts?
I mean, look, the fears and doubts are a part of it. Can I be honest with you? Everything I've ever done started with a fear. My walking out on stage, that starts with the fear. When Oprah came and got me for this life class, I said, boy, this is like a stand-up appearance for me. I'm back there sweating. I don't want to talk to nobody. I have to overcome fear all the time. When I wrote my book, I was afraid. When they told me we wanted you to be a game show host, I'd never done that. I was afraid. When they said, we want you to do a talk show, I was afraid. I have to overcome fear all the time. But the best way for me to overcome fear is the dream has to be bigger than the fear. That's the only way you turn around and run at it. I just want something so great. I aim for stuff so big that the dream is bigger than the fear. Look at it like this, man. If you don't ever go for this, would it be better for you to face the fear or just deal with the fact that you just never gave it a shot?
Oh, face it, definitely.
See, that's what the dream. And I saw you with your tie on. I know that makeup mirror. That's backstage somewhere in a dressing room. Somebody's hiring guys like you. There's no such thing as I'm 57. If I went back out there, I'd get hired tomorrow as a stand-up. If you're funny, there's a marketplace for you. Now, look, you got to
start where you are, right?
Just
start where you are.
You don't worry, man. Where you at? Now, don't stop paying the house note and stuff.
Okay, so let's go through it. You have to know your gift. Do you think you're gifted at this?
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
Okay. And then you have to be clear about your vision.
Absolutely.
Okay, and then surround yourself with other dreamers. Let's talk about that.
You know, if you don't surround yourself with other dreamers, here's what I know. If 9 of your friends are broke, you're going to be the 10th one. That's it. If 7 of your friends smoke, you're going to be number 8. If you stay with that circle of friends, you've got to surround yourself with like-minded people. See, stop telling your big dreams to small-minded people. Take yourself. Look, you're talking to me. You're 52, I'm 57. I'm a stand-up comedian, been one for 30 years. It's a natural thing for me. I would talk to people who are in the business, talk to people who are doing it. Don't let your age define you. Jack Benny, Jonathan Winters, Red Skelton.
George Burns.
George Burns.
At 90, I took up country music. I figured, why not? I'm older than most countries.
That was pretty good right there. See, my mouth, because I've never been able to do impressions. You know, I can't do that. So I see a guy like you, the golf tournaments, the corporate gigs that's available, clean corporate gigs like that. But surround yourself with people who are like-minded so you can quit getting the negative stuff that's been stopping you anyway. You know, folks, I'm proud to say that my latest book, Act Like a Success, Think Like a Success, continues to be a success and is topping the New York Times bestseller list. Now, to me, that means that people want to dream big and discover the path to life's riches. Now, that's up to you. Whatever you think riches is, that's your definition. There's a survey that says riches and success is being happy. Well, all you have to do then is determine what is it that makes you happy and start down that path. Now, to find true success, I believe that you've got to do some work because it's not free. Everybody would love to wake up and just be happy and bubbly, but it requires some work. So I want to share with you something from my book, chapter 11. There is no self-made man. Now, most of us want to believe that we're independent, that if we set our minds to do something, simply, it can get done. Well, I got news for you. Unless you look to others, you can work twice as hard to get half as much. Sometimes you need a partner in a deal in order to aid you along the way. There is nothing wrong with asking for what you want. You know, for a long time, I used to think that the path to success was going at it alone, because I was always busy priding myself on not asking for help. I was homeless. I didn't want to ask for help. I lived in a car. I didn't want to ask for help. And I almost missed out. I didn't realize how many people were willing to have discussions with me about success. You know, most people that are successful, if you ask them for help, they'll give it to you. I'm talking about advice, principles, solutions, not money. See, one thing is never a good idea. Don't walk up to a wealthy person and just ask for money. You know how many times they done got that? But if you're interested in learning how to fish, a lot of people will teach you how to fish as opposed to giving you a fish sandwich. Because they know if they give you the fish sandwich, you're going to eat it, you're going to have to come back. A lot of people have helped me along the way. Magic Johnson, Oprah Winfrey, the president. I've had some conversations with some people who have it together, and they've taught me many things about succeeding. Now, you might think that requesting help is a huge ask, but it's not. People don't mind sharing knowledge. What is knowledge unless it's shared? If you have knowledge, but you never share it, how we know you got it? And just remember, there is no shame in wanting something. This whole world is based on wanting something. You know, don't sit up and listen to some group, you know, wanting something is a sin. No, it's not. You got to want something. The scripture says a man without a dream or vision shall perish. So the day you quit wanting something, you might as well push your chips up to the window. It's a wrap. So lose the shame and you'll have access to more power. And so here's the key that I want you to tell you about. Success is all about building relationships. It's not what you know, it's who you know. Some people might not step up when you ask them for help. They might not. But guess what? The worst thing can happen to you. If somebody refuses you, you didn't have it anyway. Well, what are you worrying about that for? Well, they might say no, or they might turn me down. Ask people. You never know. Suppose they say yes. That could be the turning factor. But, you know, there are some principles that will increase your chances of getting a success. Know your worth. Don't let nobody else determine it. And don't assume anything. People aren't mind readers. They don't know what you think. And don't assume they know unless you ask with specifics. And then recognize that no is not a rejection. Every time you hear no, it moves you one step closer to a yes. Everybody can't say no. Now, unless you got a harebrained idea. And just remember that success is about building a world that looks the way you want it to, nobody else. We'll be